This evening, President Irfaan Ali outlines efforts in Guyana to provide free tertiary education during the 77th United Nations General Assembly. 3 young men remanded to prison for robbing a police officer at knifepoint. Elderly cyclist fatally knocked down by a speeding pickup. In the region, Hurricane Fiona slams Dominican Republic as Puerto Rico reeling, and internationally, UK lays Queen Elizabeth II to rest after state funeral. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Updates. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Ranks of the Guyana Police Force are investigating a fatal accident that occurred at the Meta-Mirzorg Public Road, West Coast, Demerara on September 19, 2022. Dead is 79-year-old pedal cyclist Clayton Grant of Meta-Mirzorg. According to a police report, around 8:55 p.m., a motor pickup driven by a 32-year-old man from Ramseld, West Coast, Demerara, was proceeding west along the road at a fast rate of speed when Grant attempted to cross from north to south. As a result, the front right portion of the vehicle collided with the pedal cyclist. The elderly man was flung off his bicycle and landed some distance away. As a consequence, he received severe injuries on his body, was picked up in an unconscious state by police ranks, and was immediately rushed to the Lenora Cottage Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The man's body is presently at the Ezekiel's funeral home awaiting a post-mortem examination. Further investigations are ongoing. Just last week, a father of 4 lost his life on the Mandela Public Road at the hands of a speeding driver. As fatal accidents appear to be on the rise due to speeding, drivers are reminded to use the roadways in a safe manner. President Dr. Irfaan Ali has pointed out the importance of education in the ever-changing landscape of Guyana and highlighted that efforts are already in place to not only enhance its delivery, but to ensure that it benefits all citizens of the country. President Ali made a statement today while delivering remarks at the chair of the Transforming Education Summit Leaders Roundtable discussion, which is a part of the 77th United Nations General Assembly currently underway in New York. He said that along with ensuring that Guyanese benefit from free primary and secondary education, efforts are also being made to provide free education at the tertiary level. Like the rest of the world, President Ali noted that the pandemic disrupted the education system for more than 20 months in Guyana. Despite this, initiatives were implemented to ensure that the absence of formal schooling did not translate to the end of learning. As a result, remote learning was implemented and digital and non-digital learning resources were provided. President Ali also pointed out that the government is supporting children's school attendance with the Because We Care Cash Grant, Uniform Allowance Grant, and the expanded school feeding program that aims to boost classroom attentiveness, school attendance, and performance. The head of state added that as part of Ghana's effort to strengthen the education system, his government plans to increase its expenditure by 20%. This, he said, was necessary due to the implications of the pandemic on the education system. He sourced a World Bank report which says that the COVID-19 pandemic was the greatest worldwide shock that the education system suffered. 3 males, including a teenager, were charged and remanded to prison for the robbing of a policewoman at knifepoint when they appeared at the Grove Diamond Magistrates Court on Monday, September 19th. The accused, 21-year-old laborer Roberto Lewis of Tushin East Bank Essequibo, 29-year-old warehouse attendant Wendell Austin of Tuckville Housing Compound, and a 17-year-old unemployed male appeared before Magistrate Sunil Sears, where the charges were read to them. Wendell Austin pleaded not guilty, while the teen and Roberto Lewis pleaded guilty. They were all remanded to prison. The court heard that on September 15th at 3rd Avenue Diamond, the trio robbed 27-year-old Stephanie Inderjit, a policewoman of Providence, East Bank, Demerara. The matter was adjourned to October 15th, 2022. Stick around after the break. Man placed on bail for trafficking narcotics, and the taxi driver who fatally stabbed Quincy Weeks during an argument at Mocha was remanded in custody.
Guyana goes on show from September 16th to October 2nd for the first ever Cricket Carnival with an exciting lineup of parties, concerts, pageants, CPL cricket semis and finals, and Carnival Costumes Parade. Book your tickets now. For more information, log on to cricketcarnival592.com or our social media pages. Come and experience our people, our food, and culture from September 16th to October 2nd.
The sixer! That's the first of the night.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. 26-year-old Earl Van Leeuwen was placed on bail for possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking when he appeared at the Miconi Magistrates Court on September 19, 2022. Van Leeuwen appeared before Magistrate Marissa Mettelhoser, where the charge was read to him. He pleaded not guilty and was placed on $320,000 bail. The court heard that on September 17th, a police constable was traveling in a minibus on the West Coast when he received the high scent of marijuana. The ranks stopped the minibus on the Mahaika Public Road and asked the passengers to take possession of their personal belongings. The ranks searched Van Leeuwen's 2 bags where 4 wrapped parcels were found containing leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The cannabis was taken to the Central Police Station and weighed over 6,500 grams. Van Leeuwen will return to court on October 17, 2022. 28-year-old taxi driver Troy Griffith of Carroll's Place, Mocha East Bank, Demerara, was charged and remanded to prison for the murder committed on his friend and fellow taxi driver Quincy Weeks when he appeared at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court on Monday, September 19th. Griffith appeared before Senior Magistrate Sunil Sears, where the indictable charge was read to him. He was not required to plea and was remanded to prison. The court heard that on September 14th at Mocha East Bank, Demerara, Griffith stabbed his friend and fellow taxi driver Quincy Weeks over a disagreement of a $500 change, which prolonged over parking space as they both worked taxi in the same area and plied the same route. It was during that argument that Griffith armed himself with a knife and reportedly stabbed Weeks several times. The matter was adjourned to November 18th for reports and statements. Don't go away after the break. At least 1 dead as powerful earthquake rocks Mexico, and UK lays Queen Elizabeth II to rest after state funeral.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hey yo, GT Massive, this is Double M. All I hear me out right now is all about the Marshall Super Concert, October 1st. Right here is cricket, is carnival, is soca in Guyana. Hey, ha!
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. The Dominican Republic is being battered by strong winds and heavy rainfalls as Puerto Rico copes with catastrophic damage from Hurricane Fiona. Al Jazeera's Patty Kulhan has the latest.
A sign of an island hit again. This bridge, built after the last hurricane to hit Puerto Rico, washed away. 2 days before the 5th anniversary of Hurricane Maria, now Fiona. Maria was a Category 4, Fiona a 1. But the devastation appears to be just as widespread.
This is the Plata River from the bridge in Camarillo. It is approximately 10 feet from hitting the bridge. This is crazy.
The governor of Puerto Rico has called the damage catastrophic.
In many areas that had never seen flooding, there has been an unprecedented accumulation of water. In fact, in many areas it was greater than what we saw during Hurricane Maria.
Up to 76 centimeters of rain was forecasted to fall on some parts of Puerto Rico. Houses, businesses washed away. Landslides are continuing, and more than 1.3 million people are without electricity and will likely stay that way for days or weeks. Many also don't have access to clean water.
At my age, I've never seen anything like this before. I have no words to describe this.
It destroyed everything. Everything has been affected. It all has to be rebuilt. All this.
More than 1,000 people had to be rescued. And now Fiona has moved on to the Dominican Republic. The damage there also widespread as Fiona brought winds of more than 140 kilometers per hour.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't sleep. I was sitting behind that door because the wind was strong enough that it would have taken me with everything. I woke up at 4 a.m. because the house was one large pool.
Fiona is expected to strengthen in the coming days as it next bears down on the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, and likely Bermuda as well. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera.
A magnitude 7.6 earthquake hit western Mexico on the anniversary of 2 previous earthquakes that left the country reeling in 1985 and 2017. In Mexico City, residents were holding drills on the anniversary of those quakes an hour before the latest one hit. Al Jazeera's John Holman reports.
Mexicans had only just trooped back into their office buildings after an earthquake drill when suddenly,
this is insane, 3 times.
The real thing began. Cue buildings shaking, roads bouncing, and nervous faces. They'd be forgiven for thinking that this day, the 19th of September, is cursed. You can probably see the people behind me that are still gathered outside of their buildings. I'm right in the Paseo de la Reforma, which is the main avenue in Mexico City, and they're gathered here because we just had an earthquake that's more than 7 on the Richter scale. Some more people behind us over there. What's actually really bizarre about this earthquake is that it's happened exactly on the anniversary, the 19th of September, as 2 other major earthquakes in Mexico, one in 2017 and one in 1985. Some people on Twitter starting to talk about the Aztec curse. Even the time, just past 1 p.m, was almost identical to the 2017 quake, which killed more than 300 people. The good news, this time around damage was minimal, much less than those terrible earthquakes of the past, leaving behind only a sense of bewildered awe that it could happen again.
When the earthquake alarm sounded a second time, we thought it was an error. You wouldn't think there would be a quake again on the same day at the same time, but what are the chances?
People here will surely be marking their calendars for next year. 19th September, not a day to be on the top floor. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
And internationally, leaders from across the world joined Britain's royal family for the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in London. Hundreds of thousands of people packed the city's streets to catch a glimpse of the funeral procession before her burial in Windsor. Al Jazeera's Harry Fawcett reports.
In solemn silence, the Queen's coffin was borne from Westminster Hall. Onto the gun carriage, pulled by sailors in a tradition begun with the funeral of Queen Victoria. On the coffin, a distillation of this very public yet very personal event, the monarch's crown, orb and sceptre, beside favourite flowers chosen by the king, and a handwritten note to his mother. King Charles followed the coffin and led his family on the short journey to Westminster Abbey. And on towards the altar, the late Queen's children and grandchildren, accompanied now by their spouses and her great-grandchildren, George and Charlotte.
We gather from across the nation, from the Commonwealth, and from the nations of the world.
Some 500 foreign dignitaries were in the Abbey to mark this moment, including the Queen's 14th US President and her 15th British Prime Minister, whom she invited to form a government just 2 days before her death. But above the politics, she'd been clear that this service should foremost honour her constant Christian faith. It featured her favourite hymn, "The Lord is my shepherd."
Service in life, hope in death. All who follow the Queen's example and inspiration of trust and faith in God can with her say, "We will meet again."
The last post heralded a 2-minute silence observed across the country. Before the Queen's piper brought this state funeral to a close. For 4 days, the people had been a spectacle as they queued and filed past the Queen's coffin. Now they were still witnessing an extraordinary spectacle unspool before them. A parade of hundreds of servicemen and women from the UK and the Commonwealth. Over the course of 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II came to embody the idea of monarchy in this country, a symbol and a person woven into the fabric of daily life. For those here now on the streets outside Buckingham Palace, a last chance to say goodbye. Transferred to the state hearse, the coffin's progress slowed again as it neared Windsor Castle. So long in the meticulous planning, this was a day of undeniable beauty, of images grand and intimate. Inside St George's Chapel, the service of committal. British history separated into royal ages, the Jacobean, the Georgian, the Victorian, each defining a particular time, a particular society.
The merciful goodness of the Lord endureth for ever and ever.
The second Elizabethan age was so long and saw such change it seems to defy that kind of definition. It is now, though, ended. The Queen lowered into the royal vault. Days ago he would have sung this anthem, now it's sung for him. Later, away from the cameras would come the final burial service, closest family laying to rest a matriarch alongside her husband. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, London.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2's Headline News Update. Tune in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.